Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. Another video that pretty much goes with the last one, so this one should be very quick. This one just really relies on the weld tool. So here's what we're going to make right here on the left. So all you do is come over to the shapes tool and get a heart. And again, since I want this heart to fit into that envelope, I'm going to make the width 4.25 and hit enter. And that changes the other part automatically. Now let's see, did I do that right? Yeah, they're the same size. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to slice out a piece of this heart. I'm going to get another shape, a square. I'm going to unlock it and change it into a rectangle, whatever I want, and just stick it right here in the center. Okay, and I could click on the rectangle, hold the shift key and click on the heart. Then come up here to the align and say center. And that moved it a bit. Now I have two items here. If I hold down my shift key after clicking on the rectangle, click on the heart, notice over here I have two things selected. That's exactly what I need for the slice tool. And see, it works down here. So I'm going to slice that right out of there. And I don't need these anymore, so I'm going to get rid of them. The next thing I'm going to do is come over to the text tool, and I'm going to type in Patty Ann. Oh, and you know what? It's best if you use all capital letters for this. Text tool, cap lock on. Okay, it's awfully big, but this will work. Okay, I'm going to shrink it way down so it will fit into this box. I can change the color of it if I want to make sure it's fitting exactly where I want it to. You saw me come up here, right, and change the color. And now when I highlight it, I can unlock it and stretch it. It's going to look pretty weird. You know, you could have it write anything in here that you'd want. So I need to stretch it taller yet. So now that I'm noticing this, I probably wouldn't make my box quite as large next time. But I want to make sure that the tops and the bottoms are touching. And I could, let's see, let me zoom in, whoopsie, zoom in a little bit. Because I want to make sure they're touching, and I actually want to move this over just a tiny bit. That looks pretty good to me. So the only other thing I have to do now is to whoopsie, hit the undo button, click on the text and the heart. So two things are selected now, and I'm going to come down here to the lower right and weld them, and that's going to make everything cut as one piece, all the same color. And then the next thing that I did was I just went and duplicated this heart, and I should have duplicated it beforehand. Because now that I've duplicated it like this, I have to contour or get rid of all these cuts in here that I don't want. So, whoops, I don't want that. So it would have been a lot easier if I had just done this before I had cut these things out. Let's see, how is it looking? Let's see. Oh, not so good. Let's see. I think I know what I'll do. I'll go to contour, and down here I can go hide all contours, and then they're done. Gone. All right, now I'm going to change this heart to red up here. Notice I was going over here first the old way, to come up here and change it to red. I'm also going to change this first one to red. And before I'm done, I am going to duplicate this one on the right again. So I'll have two of them. Okay, so I'm not using this one right now, and I'm not using this one right now. The one I want to use is this one. And if you noticed in the sample that I showed you, I had a pattern paper behind here. That's easy to do. If you want to put a pattern paper behind here, one that will print and cut, then you can come up here to where it says no fill, change it to print, and once it's changed to print, click on this little color swatch, come over here to print type, and click color, and now the pattern will show up. Now one thing I wish Cricut would do is make this palette here a lot larger so that I could see what in the world I'm looking for. There is a filter here where you can filter out colors or your own patterns. I just don't even know what to look for, so I'll just take these stripes, although they're not going to look great. I'll do those. So it's going to make this whole thing striped over here. Okay, now notice what it's doing over here. I don't want it to do that. It's repeating. So I'm going to edit the pattern and I'm going to scale it up a bit so that it doesn't have to repeat. It's almost good. And I really wouldn't have to worry about that much because none of that is going to show. But here I could rotate it if I wanted to. The way that stripes are going. But I'm going to put that back to 0. Hit enter. I could flip them if I wanted to, but they're fine the way they are, so I'll leave them. And now what I'm going to do is bring over this. Notice it's going behind that one. I don't want it to go behind it. So I want it, this one, I'll right click on this one that's on the top. And right click and say send to the back. Okay, and it can go like that. Now I can click on the top one and the one in the back. It's kind of hard to, there, that's probably better like that. And I think I grabbed a lot more than I wanted. Okay. And now what I can do is I can come up here to align center. So they're perfectly on top of one another. And I actually hate that stripe stuff so back there. So let me get rid of it. I don't like it. I'm going to change that pattern and I can do that to something else. All right, let's say I'm just going to change it to something like this. From here it almost looks like it's hearts, but I don't believe it really is. I can't tell, it's so tiny. Okay, it's pieces of watermelon. No. How about this one? Okay, those polka dots. You know what? I'm just going to leave it plain colored. So I'm going to go back here, but you can see how you can change it to a print. I don't think it looks that great when I have so much text there. I think it looks better just plain like that. So what's going to happen now is, this is the front. I'm going to have to put a score line here because that's where it will fold open. These two pieces will be attached together, so there's something behind my name. And now I'm going to put the score line on this one. So I go to Shapes. Here's the score line. Sometimes it's hard to see where that came in. I see it way down here. And I think I'll put my score line about there. So I like to put it at the top of what I'm scoring. And then I can just simply push this part up. So it's going to fold back here. I'm going to put the glue there. Now one thing I do need to do is to make sure I pick the red heart, hold down the shift key and pick the score line. So let's look. The red heart is picked and the score line is picked. I need to pick both of those and say attach. If I don't do that, the score line will just score by itself somewhere else. So there's the white one. Here's the red one that'll be at the very back. So I would need to right click on this and send it to the back if I wanted this to look properly. So that's it. You can put any name or any word in there at all. I put love on this one, which I think I like a lot better. Patty Ann has just so many letters in it. I don't think it looks as good, but I think this love one turned out really cute. You could put the name of someone. You could put a monogram or initials. Just remember, you need the things to touch at the top and at the bottom so that they'll stay put. So that's it. I hope you like this video. Thanks again. Bye, you guys.